The microphone was turned on, Dave.
Oh, good morning from Suzilla.
Good morning from Suzilla. Suzie and Matt here at 413 North Mission, Wenatchee Insurance, Suzie Health Solutions, you name it, we do it.
Your enrollment center located in Wenatchee.
That's right. We work enrollment center for the Washington Health Plan Finder. We just had a visit with Jean from Coordinated Care. She's one of
She's one of the outreach specialists.
The outreach specialists over there. She's one of the leads over there. So she just stopped by us, which is one of the reasons why we're running late this morning. Among other things.
Yeah. This is technically our third start.
Yes. If you've been listening, it's like, oh, well, okay.
And that's really important because the conversation is, should I start a small business? And when you start working in the small business realm, you're going to find out that you're going to start and stop multiple times.
Yes. Whether it's because of the business starting and stopping, or if it's just stuff happening, starting and stopping, there's just a million different reasons why you might start and stop.
And this last weekend, we started with the Supernova Business Project.
That's correct. There it is, the Business Launch Competition. And now explain to our lovely audience what that actually entails.
Anyway, North Central Washington Economic Development District is proud to present Supernova, a business launch competition that will identify and support new and growing businesses that seek to locate in our region with regional support from community members, funders, and professional service providers. The competition will encompass the NCW region, which includes 4 counties, Chelan, Douglas, Okanagan, and Ferry, as well as the Colville Confederated Tribes.
Yay!
And it's designed to grow small businesses in North Central Washington.
Right.
So if you are either a small business person, if you're thinking about starting one, if you want to see kind of like it's kind of like a Shark Tank.
I guess you could say to a degree, yeah.
Except instead of just pitching the business, you're pitching the business and they say, okay, go back and here's some training you need.
Well, when you go, if you've ever watched Shark Tank, you go in there and you have to talk about your financials, and you have to talk about this and talk about your values and your valuable. This teaches you how to give those numbers. Mm-hmm. It's really a very interesting thing, because when it's all said and done, yes, it's a competition. Yes, a person could win $10,000 to put towards their business. But more than anything, the most valuable thing you come out of that is education. I mean, it connects with coaches and marketers and other business leaders and people who can teach you how to do stuff that you didn't realize you needed to know. Mm-hmm. And you're meeting some really awesome new people who are also starting businesses or expanding their business. We're expanding our business. Other people are starting their businesses.
Yeah, we're doing the multiple revenue streams.
Right, and which is part of the deal. Mm-hmm. And this particular group, the Supernova group, is connecting with with groups that work with equity. Mm-hmm. Trying to keep things equitable for the population, as it were.
Yeah, that's one of the business partners, one of the trainers, and Allison. She's the local.
We were working with Joanne this weekend.
Joanne.
Yeah. And she taught us some really amazing things. Some stuff we knew, mm-hmm. some stuff we didn't. We learned about
social purpose corporations.
So that's Matt's new favorite thing. If you are incorporated, there's a couple of different directions you go for tax purposes. You've got your LLC, your sole proprietorship. You could be an S corp, mm-hmm. a C corp, or a social purpose corp. So,
there was also the professional
PLLCs. We've got 2 direct medical in our group. Yeah. 2 people who are offering direct mm-hmm. medical services. Liberty Bell up in Okanagan.
I know they're in Okanagan.
No, they're in Twist. They're in Twist. And Lupine down here in Wenatchee. Mm-hmm. And what they're doing is they're offering a subscription-based concierge medical.
Well, that's the basis for both of them. Both of them have that model.
But they have different angles.
But Angela, who's running Lupine, is also mentioned like sports medicine and some of those one.
Yeah, she's doing some of the more weight management. Mm-hmm. And she's an MD. Mm-hmm. And so is Mark. Not Mark. No, Keller McCloy. Mm-hmm. And Angela Hendricks is here in Wenatchee, and they're both working different goals, which is fine because they're working to their strengths and their areas.
Yeah, if you're in Washington State, there is a list of direct medical providers. Both of these individuals are on that. At the Office of the Insurance Commissioner, because of Washington State, the codes, they have a requirement for direct medical providers to register.
Right.
It's one of the governing bodies, and that was one of the things that we talked about in this kind of this breakdown of what we have to work with is what regulatory bodies your business have to go to.
Yeah, exactly. For example, we have to have licenses with the Office of the Insurance Commissioner because we do insurance. And then, of course, there's things like business licenses and other things like that.
Yeah. We happen to be a little bit farther along than some folks.
Because we've already had the health side of the business building for 10 years.
Yeah, and we're jumping on and we're starting it. The property, we started doing property out of here in January officially, and as the industry insider said, it's the worst year for property insurance in the last 40 years.
Go figure.
And State Farm announced some massive losses.
Yeah, it's been a tough year.
So we're gonna see that role of price increases and the need to shop, and that's where we come in because we designed this from the ground up to have a group of different insurance companies so that if one jacks their rates, we can switch the customers over to another one.
Right, and that's one of the fun things about being a broker, being brokers, is we've got access to other lines. We're not just glued to, we're not a captured agent with, Joe's Mighty Insurance Company. I don't because I do health stuff, but I have my own exchange set up where I can offer, I've got contracts with as many Medicare and health insurance policies I can get my hot little hands on.
Yeah, we can't quite do that because our head would explode, and I don't think there's an aggregator big enough.
No. But the aggregator we did contract with is picking ones that are appropriate for our area.
Yes, they looked at it, and then we've got like 3 or 4 different brokerages, so the small businesses really get a wide selection.
Oh yeah, great opportunity for folks.
We're actually building matrices in our systems, like okay, who goes where and how, and
is it matrices or matrices?
I'll go matrices.
I like matrices.
Okay.
But
yeah, for the last couple of years, there was the Great Resignation.
Yes.
If you haven't been aware of it, look up the Great Resignation.
Yeah, with COVID hit, people quit. And then if they kept it, some of them, they're doing the whole quiet quitting thing. We discussed that on our podcast before. Yeah. A lot of people retired early, which gave me an opportunity to help them with their health insurance. A lot of people are retired early, started their own businesses.
Yes.
Or some combination of the two. And that's where Supernova can be a really helpful tool for them because it's going to help guide folks in the,
What it does is it provides that business trainer.
Exactly.
That you never got in high school. You don't have it with your peers. You
probably couldn't even get it at college.
No. And I've already had one of our friends that printed your sweatshirt, and a couple of our actually we got 4 sweatshirts out of her so far. But she's doing a vinyl print business, and we've supported her. And it's like, hey, look, single mom,
do this. What your investment is your time. Now, according to Joanne, our mentor this last weekend, we're going to get, when we are through the whole shebang, we're going to get basically the equivalent of a quarter of college education on business.
Yeah, but it's
crammed into about 11 weeks.
It's crammed in. Yeah, that's about the time and about the hours. And it's things that you use and things that you don't think about. Yes, we've been running, a small business on the Life and Health for, over a decade now. And we know that our skill set is not all that in a bag of chips.
Yeah, we've definitely got some gaps in our knowledge, and that's where this has already been helpful.
And it's identifying the shortcomings. One of the big ones is we're looking at getting some serious work with accounting and the corporate structure set up.
Right. We really need to formalize things because we're getting big enough. We need to really.
Well, it's not that. It's
not just size, but it's what happens if and moving to the forward.
It's the background system mechanics that you don't think of as an hourly employee.
Yeah.
And it weighs heavily on if you don't do it as a business owner.
Yeah.
We're looking at the doing the social purpose corporation. And that was not an option in back in 2010. When
didn't even exist at that point.
It did not exist, and we're trying to figure out is it worth the extra paperwork to do?
Is the value of that designation worth the energy in the paperwork? We know that if you go. We're auditioning accountants, by the way. If you are an accountant and you want to come talk to us and you align with our values, we need to talk. We're starting the interview process. We've talked to at least one accountant at this point. And by the way, not quite the right fit. It was a good try.
Accountants are weird cats.
They are weird cats, and I'm okay with that.
And the reason why I say that they're weird cats is for 9 cycles, we've handed out 1095 forms for folks to process their income tax return.
Yeah.
9 cycles. We've only had like 2-3 people who write taxes that did the aha. Would you share information with us so that we can have this symbiotic help the consumer?
True.
Martin, who does our taxes, wonderful guy, not seeking any more help. Diana, she shut down her door for new business. So we don't have anyone that is in that. Hey, I'm writing this and I could use that. And
we've gotten a couple leads on H&R Block this year. Yeah,
but H&R Block has not given me any sort of brochures or something. I can say, where do I find my tax? Go here.
Yeah, that's true. We're either way.
But we actually have had more financial advisors.
Yes.
We've got 3 or 4 financial advisors that we refer business out to regularly.
Yes.
Because that's our consumers. We want our consumers well educated.
Yes. Education is key. And that's, again, back to one of the reasons why we're doing the Supernova thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, at the very end, it is a competition, and we could conceivably walk out with $10,000. But that's not our goal. We're also one of the key things that we're going to walk out with is a fully formed business plan.
Well, we've already got fully formed.
Well, yes, but
different standards.
Different standards.
Yeah.
And the people who are coming into this who haven't been doing like we've been doing or got through the CIA process will have a fully formed business plan that they can present to investors or their banks or whatever they need to do.
Well, it was interesting because King Pizza,
yes,
soon to arrive in Wenatchee, we already know about it.
Love you, Mark.
Yum. They had to do a 2-year business plan.
Right.
And we're like, oh, well, we had to do a 5. And
we're totally different businesses,
different businesses, but
pizza and insurance are not they're apples and pomegranates.
Yes. However, yes, we're on everyone's list to need an insurance expert.
Yeah. That's our goal.
But it was on the business list.
Yes.
They had a list of experts,
and that would be we're amongst that.
We're amongst that need to have in your back pocket.
Right. We don't need to have a guy who makes pizzas, but it's really nice.
It's really nice. We do have some food places in our back pocket.
Yum, yum, yum.
I'm thinking of our churro team.
Oh yeah.
So churros. Yeah, we have things like that because we done business so long. It's like, but there are gaps. But that's kind of like everyone needs, to have a good insurance person. Everyone should have a good lawyer.
Yeah, and maybe not necessarily on retainer, but someone you've got a relationship with.
Yeah, everyone should have a good tax person. These are what was that goofy term? Adulting.
Yeah. You've never liked that phrase.
I never have, because it was like something that was like you're painfully supposed to do, and
I'm being forced into being an adult.
And I never really got that. It was like, complaining about getting jury duty. I never understood that one either, because I've always kind of celebrated, well, I'm on jury duty, and
except for when it happens during annual enrollment.
That was the only time. Well, no, because I still did the call-ins.
No, but I did.
Yeah, you had it this last time.
I had it bad, and I asked for a deferral.
Yeah,
and I got it in the spring.
Yeah,
that's when I got the federal hit.
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly what that was, but it was a big one, and I had to defer it because the timing was so bad.
Yeah, it was like November Spokane.
Oh gosh,
it was like no.
So I got a deferral. I was like, listen, this is the busiest time of my year. I will be glad to do it any other time, but please not during these months.
But that's, yeah.
And I really wanted to do it. That would have been so flippin' cool.
But that's the thing. That whole adulting thing is not cool.
No. And I mean, the thing is about, jury duty and going to the DMV and getting your health insurance, don't look at it like a chore. Look at it as just part of life. And if you've got people around you that can make it entertaining or at least less painful, like me or Matt or Shayla, that's a good thing.
Well, one of our mantras that we run our business on is why build something that sucks?
It's true.
It's very direct, and it's a very good razor to any business. And if you're doing something that sucks, why?
Yeah, why are you doing this?
What can you do to change it? What can you if you can't change it, why are you still there? Because usually what happens if you're in a suck situation, you take the suck home.
Yeah, and you just
then your home sucks too.
Yeah.
It's infectious.
Now, to be fair, you can be building something that you're doing really good with, and it starts to suck.
Yeah,
that happens. Businesses can fail.
It happens. When I was talking to it was the course from the Greater Seattle Business Network, the largest LGBTQ plus allies chamber of commerce in the United States, located here in Washington State. Strongly suggest you do it because there's a huge amount of resources. But when she was talking, the teacher was talking about multiple revenue streams. One of the things that she mentioned was like, don't be afraid to get a part-time job that complements what you're doing to bring in extra revenue.
Yeah.
We did that early on.
We did. I did that for years.
Well, no.
Are you?
I'm talking about something else.
Are you?
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Part-time. We sold hot dogs at a softball tournament.
That was a one-off, dear. That wasn't part-time.
It was a one-off. We did it for a weekend. We had the monkey with us.
Yeah.
And because we're still talking leads and stuff. I don't think we got any leads, but we had fun. But we ended up bringing in revenue.
We had to pay bills.
we had to pay bills. There's nothing wrong with that. One of the big aha moments for Suzie this weekend when Joanne was talking was that your family, there's going to be family members that don't support your small business.
And I didn't realize how common that was. Evidently it is extremely common for families to not be supportive of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And I was a little surprised to find out that it was actually really nice to know that we were not alone in this particular fight.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like we're home.
Yeah. Because there was a lot of nodding heads.
Yeah, there was that was a homecoming moment.
It's like, oh wow, I've learned something. I now do not feel quite so isolated in that situation.
Yeah, and it's because you're gonna walk around and you're gonna find people that say they're small business supporters.
Mm-hmm.
That are really not. A good example is your best friend from you've known for years, ask you for a friend's discount. I have this rule of doing businesses with good people.
Mm-hmm.
I never ask for a discount. I expect them to give me a good price, not gouge me. But I know how hard it is to be a small business owner.
Well, we supported a small business owner this weekend.
Which one?
Well, Daniel J. Fleming.
Daniel J. Fleming. If you're ever in Pike Place Market and you see a big furry dude selling paintings.
He's less furry. He shaved his beard.
He shaved his beard again?
I think so. I think he's beardless. I'd have to look and see. But
yeah.
Big dude, goofy looking.
Tie-dyes,
selling amazing photographic art.
And he is Daniel T. Fleming.
Daniel T. Fleming.
Yes.
Just Daniel D. Fleming.
Hey, he's one of my artist friends that I've known for 30 years.
Yeah, he is an absolute artist.
Mm-hmm.
He is the epitome of the artist. And he had a bad weekend. It's like, the only sale I made.
Returned it.
It's like, help. Because he had bills to pay. It was the end of the month. He's probably thinking about his bills. And
yeah.
I'd actually been looking at his art for my office for a couple of weeks. It's like, okay, let's pull the trigger on it.
Yeah.
It was the universe tapping me on the head saying, buy the damn picture.
Buy the damn picture from Daniel T. Fleming.
Yeah. It's going to be gorgeous. You got to come and see it.
Yeah. And he is an art, a wonderful artist, a real character.
Oh, yes.
Will talk your ear off. He's done all sorts of crazy art stuff, but yeah, there was a point where I was doing art and we performed together.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, this is one of those serious conversation pieces. It's like, it was cool to finally be able to kick out some money. I've got a hoodie made by him.
Yes.
I'm more into.
I think that's a unique piece too.
It is a one-off.
Yeah.
There are pieces that he's worked with and played with that are kind of off the books. Yeah, he's got some
private collection stuff.
Some private stuff. My favorite one.
Mm-hmm.
This is my favorite one. That is completely off the books, and I think he might have actually destroyed the files.
Really?
He has the full. Remember the whole? Was it the Chaz thing in Capitol Hill?
Oh yeah, the rainbow sidewalks or crosswalks, and the whole the rainbow block basically.
He had managed to have the entire thing pieced together clean.
I remember that.
And
he got barked at hard on that.
He got barked at hard because he wasn't a person of color.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't ever design anything like that.
Mm-mm.
And it was just amazing to look at this thing.
It really was an amazing piece. I only ever saw a rendering of it. I never saw the actual piece, but it was... what I saw was very impactful. And it's a real shame if it has gone the way of the ether.
It's possible. The other one he played with was Ben Franklin's.
I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah, he's played with money a couple times, but there's a couple other artists out there, and he didn't want to look like he was ripping them off.
He didn't want to seem derivative.
Yeah. And it's a shame because it's like, that's the kind of stuff I'm looking at because I'm more of a pop culture type.
Yeah, you like your pop art.
Now.
And that's cool. And I like some of the stuff that you want, that you really enjoy is really not very work appropriate, which is kind of a bummer. So the piece I chose is more landscapey.
Yeah.
It's definitely landscapey. It's like, it's a, I want to say it's Utah, rock formation, Utah. I'd have to look and see.
Yeah, I tend to be more provocative.
You do.
Because I want something that inspires thought and conversation.
Exactly. And unfortunately, sometimes that is not appropriate in a workspace.
Yeah.
Sometimes the most provocative stuff really should be in your home. And I mean, there's been some really amazing pieces that he's made. There's been some really amazing pieces we've seen unrelated to him. It's like, well, yeah, I really love it, but that just isn't going to work there.
Yeah, we are in the small business renaissance. So, depending on how long legislation works.
What do you mean?
This is one of the conversations that's being had. The American Rescue Plan Act.
Yeah.
And
we got 2 more years on that.
Well, no, because that's already done. It was, and they tacked
sorry.
on the Inflation Reduction Act on the side.
Right. And
we got 3 more years on that.
Yeah, and that's heavily impacting Medicare.
Yeah, and well, it's also impacting us that are on the individual market, which is small business owners.
No, I got that.
But they've done stuff. I want to say this economic development district is part of those things.
Ah, that makes sense.
So there are these small business incubators out there that are starting up. So we are seeing this explosion of small businesses, which is. But the question is how long will there be this explosion? Will it last the 3 years, or will some additional, legislation appear that devastates it?
Shenanigans. Which is so funny, because so often when we see shenanigans like that, it comes from people who spout support for small business.
Well, a good example. And this is a good example that really impacted a lot of small businesses, was that 2017 tax package.
Yes.
Because it benefited some that were doing the whole pass-through and the S-Corps and all that.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it really dinged a lot of us others.
Oh, yeah. It totally did. And that's why a lot of S-Corps got created.
Yeah, and that portion is you got to look at, if they're really an ally, or are they asking for that discount.
Good question.
And it's very important. One of the things that we did, we had to weigh on this heavily, was joining the local Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah. We've had a contentious relationship with the Chamber of Commerce in Wenatchee. When we first started, when Matt first started, Matt McColm Insurance, you were a member of the Chamber of Commerce, because that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
When we closed Matt McColm Insurance, that's fine. That went away. And then we started.
We focused on the health and life.
We started on the health and life, and it's like, oh, hey, here's the AC. This is awesome. We're going to embrace this. And the local Chamber of Commerce brought in a speaker whose main focus was to try and destroy it.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, this isn't going to work anymore. So that was a definite clear severance of that relationship.
Well, there's more to the story.
Of course there is.
And because Chamber of Commerce is such a large organization, it was known for running associate plans.
Yes.
And it actually offered associate plans, and those were discontinued because of the Affordable Care Act, largely because they didn't pay out.
Now, one thing you may not realize is Chamber of Commerce is a federal lobbying group. If you're going to be part of your local Chamber of Commerce, the local Chamber of Commerce is part of this larger group. It's like the PTA.
Yeah.
Same idea. It's just a big corporation, essentially. And by joining the group, you've got, theoretically, you've got the local contacts, which is great. But they're also and with that whole association group, they were upset because they were going to lose that source of income through the association policies.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, so we had, it's like, well, we can't support that. There's been a change of leadership. There's been some shifts in the whole
on the local level,
which makes us willing to try again.
Well, no, it wasn't even that. It was the reason why is because of the Supernova
Mhm.
has a bunch of its release stuff with the Chamber of
There's
Commerce.
a tie. There's a
So
tie in
there's
there.
a tie in there.
Yeah.
So we'll see on how effective the chamber is if it's changed with the change of leadership. As a national organization, as a small business owner, I look at their dismal track record of what they support, and am not a fan.
Yeah, I know.
To this day, it's one of the conversations we're having with the organization that's formerly known as NAHU. We're going to do
NABIP or whatever they're calling it themselves now.
Yeah, we are. It was the National Association of Health Underwriters. It's now the the National Association of Benefits
Insurance providers or I don't know, something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we're going to do the spring symposium. We're going to see what they offer. We were not impressed when we did the day on the hill with them.
No.
Because we focused, on both individual plans, on both the under 65 market and the Medicare market, and they didn't have any updates on those two lines.
Yep.
And they didn't even invite in the state exchange, which is going through some massive changes.
Yeah. So they've got room. They're on super secret probation with us right now.
Yeah, they're in the process of following, and I've talked to the leader a couple times about a couple of different points, and haven't seen any movement in that direction.
We probably won't.
And so, I've also talked to some of the past presidents. That's the fun part. I've been in it long enough. I've known some of the past presidents, and the past presidents have tapped me more than once. Asked me about, what's this super secret thing that's going on here? Because we study our information all the time. So that's the important thing. Pick your allies, pick them well. And if they start going sideways,
it's okay to cut them loose.
It's okay to cut them loose. And find better allies along the way. You're only going to walk so far alongside someone before you split. Because it's time. It's no hard feelings. It's just the way it is. Don't drag someone along, by no means. And that's one of the things our son's having kind of issues with right now. Is I told him he needs to hang out with the office more, because he went and saw our old house.
Yeah.
And in less than 5 minutes, it's not in a great portion of town. It was adequate. It roof over our heads, but it hasn't. There's been no real economic development in the area, so it's run down even further since we've been out there 6-7 years now,
something like that.
But less than 5 minutes away, up on the hill, are these big, wonderful, nice houses, and he sees the economic
disparity,
the division in the classes, and
it made him mad.
Because he thinks everyone deserves nice things, and he's right. However, I told him he needs to hang out with the office more, because we do our best to enable people to have nice things and keep nice things, but because of these conversations are private, he's not privileged to them.
Right, and that's appropriate.
And it's very appropriate, because we're very conscious of who our clients is in having that private conversation. So that the clients, they're the only ones that can really say, "Hey, you guys gave us some wonderful advice. Here you go. Here's a 5-star review." It's incredibly important. So, yeah, now's the time to build your small business. If you could tap into one of these economic development districts, go for it.
Sure.
Plug into a district. we're hunting for people who want to be in the next cycle because we see its value on the way in. We're, of 25 and they can only take 20.
So
it's going to be a fight to get in 2 weeks.
Yep.
So, hey, look at doing business.
Yeah.
If you're treading water, definitely look at doing a business.
Yep.
Plug in, find the Supernova Business Launch Competition on Facebook, share.
Do our survey.
And have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.